but to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
And with acceptance of the minutes from the 2018 town board meeting, looking for a motion. Motion by Bob, second by Nancy, all in favor? Opposed? Any public comments?
Thought I'd wait, see what happens.
Yes. Hearing none, we'll move right to highway. Randy?
All right. Not really going to be short and sweet tonight. Sorry, Dad. Well, got a thank you letter that I passed around. I mentioned it last week, or last meeting.
Oh, where did you find it?
I found it in one of my notepads. Yeah, really, on my desk.
I didn't see it.
Uh-oh. Where'd it go?
It's right here.
Bob stopped it.
Hey, give me a break, just happens to be in front of me.
That was one from Thurman.
Yes, for the state, I was talking to DEC and New York State DOT for hopefully getting the signs changed at the end of Page Street from park to campground and maybe backed up a little bit. So it's a plus. They're here quick, and she called them and said it's already been addressed, so we are working on it. Next, we had a position for a laborer that had his final day today with the town of Lake Pleasant. John Reicha moved on. Bob and I did interviews on Monday evening of the two of the best applicants. And we are here, I guess, as a committee to suggest we hire Lynn Page. He is a building employee at this time, seasonal, temporary for the past 3 years. He wishes to get a full-time job. He's doing the exact same job, pretty much, picking garbage and then filling in from there. So at the village, so he's tried to get put on full-time, and I talked to Roger and there's nothing definite there, so he encouraged him to move on. So I and Bob, after the interviews, thought that he would be a very good candidate for us. So I'm looking for a resolution to hire him on.
How do you spell his name, Randy?
Lynn Page.
Who's Lee's son?
He's Lee's son. Yes. The $13.48 an hour full time. He is filling the garbage picking position, and then filling the rest of the time from there.
And we did ask if he's willing to go ahead and start working on his CDL. And he's going to do that.
So
How soon can they start?
he would like to give 2 weeks notice to the village. Because they've always hired him back on it, so it's going to be 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yep. This is Trevor's.
The Aaron?
No, he has girlfriend with kids. Working on the married thing.
Thanks.
Anybody else want to see that?
We can come back to that if you want, or you want to take care of that?
We'll also take, I think, I would like to take care of it now.
Okay.
But if Nancy has any questions, we can bring it up.
Oh, so let her read it while we're going through other stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, feel free to ask questions, we know.
Yeah.
Mentioning we have a now TRP from DEC for the Memphis Beach Road. So now that is going to move forward. We have all the paperwork and we got stopped because we didn't have permits. We thought we had everything under control, but DEC didn't kind of drop the ball, I guess. Inter-office issues. And another note that the second air conditioning unit has been replaced. We're doing a 3-year program on the 3 of them. So number 2 has been replaced
And health center.
at the health center. So, any questions, Nancy?
Just while you're talking about air conditioners, when we were in library board meeting yesterday, we noticed, and there was a complaint that this building kind of goes off on a tangent all by itself. Like it can be set at 72, but it's a lot colder than 72. So I believe Sherry is going to be calling the company just to see
Okay.
if there's something, but I wanted to give you a heads up, so,
Okay.
you know, if you hear something in the
From them,
future.
yeah. No, that's a good thing because we trying to rule out the middle person with the heating and air conditioning. If they can call the direct company, then that's.
Everybody okay with this applicant?
I'll move.
All right. We have Bob Bobin
Second.
to accept, second by Chris. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution stands.
Okay. Now for the long-winded part.
And you'll do the notifications.
Yes, I'll notify him tomorrow, and then the other applicants will notify one way or the other.
Yep.
So last meeting, I discussed truck replacement schedules, and truck length of time if we ordered one back then. It's not getting any better. As you can see on this packet I handed out, about the 5th or 6th line down. If we ordered one 2 weeks ago, when it would be May of 2019 that cabin chassis would come in. And from that company, it's 3 to 4 months from there minimum, if nothing changes, before they can build the truck. There is the option to the right of it for building the truck is much quicker because they build their own bodies and they build their own plows and wings, which we've been using for 12 years now, the Henderson plows. So I went out, these are both on, not state bid, but on contracts that we can piggyback onto. Oneida County bids.
Are they available on the state contract? This truck?
This truck, no. This is, the Oneida is the closest to what we want. You know, they go, what packages are
If
closest.
you were under the state contract, what kind of truck would you be looking at?
First of all, it only have one seat in it.
You want what?
Seat, because the state doesn't run wing vendors.
Alright.
And they have automatics. Their contracts are just totally different, set up for just their state road. They don't run wing tenders. I don't know the exact specs, but they usually have cab and a halves.
Oh, the extended cab, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Single seat
Extended.
cab and a half.
Yeah, but yeah, brilliant. And they have people in the back seats, and a dump body, and they also run, I mean, I'm sure they run tandems on the throughway,
Oh, yeah.
but they run single axles all up here, but we can still get onto the tandem. The specs are just, I was informed on both of these companies that these are the closest specs to what we want, so you go with that because that's where you're gonna get the most savings. As soon as you go off the Here, I can show you. As soon as you go off and you change any of these upgrades, you get 36% off of the upgrade on the state bids. Where if you stay on just the base truck, you get a bigger discount. So the closer you get the base truck to what you want, the more discount you get. You don't have to, these are the options, you only get 36% off on the contract. Does that make sense? It's like ordering a truck that's already on a lot, like, you know,
Right.
rather than specking out a truck completely to order it.
If I built so many of these and.
Yeah.
What class truck is that?
What class? It's, I believe, a class 5.
Just curious.
It's a 4900
That we're looking at.
that we're looking at. The same truck that we already had,
Okay.
the Western, the new one, we got 2 years ago, year and a half ago. The state road truck, just a little bit shorter wheelbase. So we're looking at a 13-foot box on this one rather than a 14-foot box because we're putting it on the back roads, shortening it up. Some, and not the one that we're replacing is an 11-foot box. So if you can compare apples to apples. The two trucks are starting off with the truck. The Western Star is what we have now, so now we're gonna have the same filters, the same everything that way. People will get in it, know where the switches are. They won't be back and forth, left and right. It's cheaper. That should raise eyebrows there. The walking beams is a huge issue. We go through walking beam bushings in the two trucks we have now, the Sterlings.
What are walking beams?
Walking beams is the joint between the two, the rear axles. There's one beam that rotates back and forth as the axles go over the bumps. They're joined together by a shaft that has a bushing in the middle. And the wheels are supposed to go this way, and when that bushing goes, they start twisting. You ever see a tractor trailer going down the road and the trailer is offset from the truck? That's because those beams are worn out. And then it starts wearing tires, it gets into the brake cans, it does all kinds of fun stuff.
So we don't want.
We don't want them. The new suspension is totally different. And it's been proven, and we heard about it from the loggers, to be quite honest. They put a lot more weight on them and they go over the woods roads and they hold up. So that's why we investigated it for the last truck. And we like it, so I spec'd it out in this truck.
Thank you.
The set forward axle gives you a better ride. It gives you a huge amount of room underneath the hood to work on things. For Shorty's terminology, it's the old GMC General chassis. Rather than these new ones that everything's cramped underneath. The front axle is 17 inches closer to the cab, to your feet, on a set back axle. So if you can imagine the front wheels of your car being 17 inches closer to your feet. It just jams everything closer. They try to increase the turning radius doing that.
Increase or decrease?
Decrease, you try to decrease it, right?
Yeah, decrease, sorry. Dump bodies, plows, and the hitches that go on the trucks. There is a huge price difference of $28,000 between the two companies. We have the one on the right in the state road truck, was in our old truck before that, now it's on this truck, the new one, and it's still going. It's very strong, very heavy. The one to the left is, the box is this inch bigger here, inch bigger there, nothing major, but the biggest difference, Danny might know about this, is 201 stainless steel to 304 stainless steel. 201 will be dirtier. It's not as clean of stainless steel. It doesn't polish as nicely. We have one of each right now,
Less nickel.
less nickel. And then hence, less nickel, way cheaper. So we have one of each, and neither one of them, if you walked up to it right now, you'd tell the difference between them. So for the price difference, and it's a company we've been dealing with since 2011, or no, 2007, with the first truck. We don't have issues with Henderson. We have some issues with other truck companies.
And that's 86 or is that?
86, 7. So if you flip to the next page, this is my suggestion so we can get this started, because these quotes are only good for 30 days. And that started a week and a half ago when they came out. The chassis from Tracy Road and the plows from Henderson. That $214,000 is the combined price, the two. The truck fund that we have started years ago, there has $110,000 in it. The 2019 budget fund, if it's approved, which we're not even into yet, we'll have $50,000, which we've been putting in it. The same amount I plan on putting in it. That leaves a remainder of $54,000 change. That money we can take out of the CHIPS fund, which is our paving fund that's supplied by the state of New York. They not only give you money for paving, but you can use it for the equipment to take care of the roads and the housing of Poundell, but as far as buildings. So yes, that'll be $54,000 less paving next year, but if you don't have the trucks to keep going, right. So the village bought their last truck this way, completely. Turnkey. So with that, there will be no increase in any of the budget in the budget lines for the truck funds for this truck.
Can you estimate the value of the truck it's replacing at 15,000?
Yeah, well, that's what I said for the last one, and we ended up with 21,000 for it, and it didn't have a box. So this could be a low number, but my crystal ball doesn't tell me who's going to bid on what. This will be selling a truck with the old wing and the old plow. So that, we should raise more money than the last one, but I can't, I went on Auctions International and looked at what trucks are going for today. Who knows, somebody might want that one. Like the last one, the guy in Massachusetts, Long Island wanted it. Got it all the way up to 21,000. So that number for that trade-in value isn't even figured in. That's not trade-in value, but the resale value, I should say.
The chips, could you include that in along with the work you want to do when you apply for your chips?
Yes, that's what I was planning on doing next year.
In addition to the road, not to take it out of what road you were trying to do it in addition to the road.
Well, CHIPS was going to only give us 86,000.
Okay.
That's what we're rated for at the road mileage we have. They give you X amount of dollars per mile of road. Per mile dirt road and per mile paved road. Different numbers, obviously.
So they don't play nice, like say, well, you need a new truck.
No, that's not how it works. I only wish how it would work that way. There'd be a long line down in Albany at that office.
Right.
No, they give you money to maintain your road on a 10-year basis. You can't, if you maintain Bay Street, pave it this year, you have 10 years, you can't use their money for that road.
Okay.
And they go by how many miles of road you have, and they do that now by GPS. A couple years ago, if you remember, the village was going to lose 3 or 4 miles of the road, which was a big number because of the GPS system. So moving down from there, just a refresher, you can read down to the bottom numbers. Because a question came up is if we can change the truck fund amount in the budget. This is where we stand right now. If we use the next year's budget to purchase this truck, the truck fund will be then depreciated, gone. In 2022, the next truck should be up for replacement. At that point in time, the truck fund will be $100,000 short of purchasing a truck at today's price. In 2025, 2 years later, the truck will be 18 years old, which is 3 years over what we had in our schedule. The next truck, which is the one we just bought 2 years ago, in 2031, we will have, because it's a new truck now, we will have enough money to replace it. It will be 14 years old. But going on the schedule again, the truck that we're talking about purchasing now, in 2037 will be 18 years old again, not 15. So our idea of replacing trucks with 15 years and putting $50,000 away
Didn't cover
isn't quite covered. Now,
it.
we have been buying stainless steel boxes.
But you should be able to use them.
We should be able to drop, but I don't know how much. In 2037, I will guarantee you the price is gonna be a lot more than $250,000. But that's a long ways away, but I'm just showing you why this money is where it is now. Now, on the last page is the hours of the trucks and how many hours a year they get put on. And it's at 9,000 hours right now. The 2020, or the 220 truck, 2007, is at 7,600 hours, and we're asking it to go another 5 years, 6 years from now. So that is gonna have almost 12,000 hours on it by the time we get around to replacing it. Right now. It's gonna be hard pressed to get 6 more years out of that truck. Not saying you can't do it, but we're gonna be having breakdowns. The state road truck, the next one down, gets 1,200 hours a year on it because it's on the state road. There's no other way of looking at it. It's up and down the road. So someone asked me, how much do we make with the state snow money? Is it worth the truck, the time, the this, the that, and everything else? These numbers in front of you are just what we made last year from November till now, which is one plowing season. $61,000 in revenue. We spent $400 in parts, $8,000 in fuel. And I don't know how much it breaks down to per truck for the insurance, but I took the number of $600. I don't know what the insurance breakdown is, but that leaves $52,000 that the town, just on that truck going up and down the road, cleared.
On a good winter.
On a normal, good winter, so on and so forth. So there's your $50,000 truck fund that everybody's questioning if we need or not need. There's the money, that's where that money came from. That's the rationality
That
of it.
was just gonna be my next question. Is that what goes in the truck fund?
That's your truck fund money. So when the budget showed $50,000 towards the truck,
That's coming from.
that's coming from the state of New York. That's, you know, the manpower and the retirement and the benefits, as Nancy would know, is paid for also. So we don't, you know, that's not in the equation. That's a whole other thing. And then my time, which I'm salaried, the state pays for it, I'm checking the roads, and the truck time, that's another number. So does the state snow make the town money? Yes. It keeps these trucks. So we have 3 trucks that the state's paying for basically in the long run. Because they pay for that every year, that truck fund.
Is this based on,
That's based on what we did just last year,
yeah,
the most current year.
but 2 years ago when we didn't have.
When 2 years ago, we didn't bring that kind of money in, but we also didn't spend that kind of money.
Right.
You know what I mean? We didn't have the fuel bill that was that's there.
Overtime.
So, and the overtime. You know, it's all, that was the year, 2 years ago, that we had so much money in the budget that we were able to buy 214,
Right.
How many miles of state highway do we plan?
34 lane miles.
Yeah.
So 17 up, 17 back.
And that's just on 8 and 30 going
Yep.
north?
Yep. 8 south to the parking lot now,
Oh,
the
okay,
second parking lot,
okay.
or 30 south, whichever way you want to look at it. From the shop to the Four Corners, and then up to Galusha's Road. And then
Blue Lake.
Blue Lake. We lost about a half a mile, but they didn't adjust anything for that when they changed our turnaround 2 years ago, or a year ago, to the parking lot.
Right.
They thought it was safer.
And when you go west, what's the route?
When you go west, we start at the shop and come this way, east. We don't go west.
Oh, you never go west?
We never go west on the state road unless we're covered for the county.
Oh, okay.
County goes from here to Route 10.
I had a question.
Okay.
Off the winter season, we do a lot of shared service with the other towns in the county. How is that? Or is it, I know some towns don't even have tandem trucks, so they
Correct.
contribute to that.
Well, it's shared services. We do a lot with the county. The county does a lot for us. When we pave,
And I guess my question is
does it balance out? Most of the time. For instance, when we have the same number of trucks and such as area. When we pave, they bring everything they got. When they pave, we send everything out there. When we work with the county, we send 3 trucks, they send 9 to us. At least 6, so that's double. So that's a plus there. The ones that went like Hope and Benson, they both have 1 tandem, 1 single axle. Okay, there's a little bit there, but they also don't do as much road, so it's 1 day, not 3 days. There is another town that is, they only have a single axle truck. And the village, we're part of the village, so that's fine and dandy. I'm not talking about the village. Village, the Wells only has a single axle truck. So they without a doubt, they'll send their single axle to anywhere you want to go. But when they ask every town to send everything they got. So they get the better end of that
Sure.
for the town of Wells. Indian Lake, same as us. They have 2 to 3 trucks and they send them down. We work well. So far, the last 2 years, Inlet and Long Lake hasn't asked for us because the county's been helping them out, giving them everything they need.
And that was probably the basis of my question, because of the times of travel that.
Right, and we don't like to go that far, and they don't like to come this far, because first of all, if they come down to help us, and they go all the way to Gloversville to get blacktop,
Yeah,
they miss the first round completely,
Right.
just because they're just driving down. And the same thing works for us, because they go out of Barrett's over on Route 12, it takes us an hour to get there. We missed their first round, so it throws everything off.
yeah,
So we try not to, and they know it, and they try not to call us.
yeah.
So, and now that the county has a bigger fleet, we really don't need to.
Thank you.
And that's 99% summertime. Like I said, when the trucks break down in wintertime, the county, we help them out, they help us.
Sure.
That's-
And when the trucks break down in the wintertime and the county helps, they get the state snow money.
Correct. If it's on the state road, they get all the money.
Mm,
So that's where we lose this. We do all the work, they get the money.
right.
So. But this truck is a back road truck. It's not, we have a spare that you wrote in for the village that we joined. Their truck, our standards, we store it, we maintain it in the winter. We have another truck 220 that is set up for being able to salt the state road. So this truck I highly doubt you'll see it on the state road. So that's a good thing. This is 215, doesn't ever go on the state road. So with that, as I stated in the second page, right? If we don't get started on this, we're not gonna see the truck next year. It's,
That goes for 30 days from when?
The
the
20th.
28th of August. So we are well over a week into that now. It's, the biggest question is, is this board gonna put that $50,000 back into the, like we've been doing in the truck funding budget? And if
Come
not,
into budget season.
right, and if not, then we gotta come up with it knowingly somewhere else. That's, I'm suggesting we get started on this.
And you're still looking for a resolution to purchase
Yeah.
Cabot.
Yep.
Kevin Johnson. I would you remove it.
I would love to, but I can't.
You would move it, second it, and pass it.
Right. But I can't.
Personally, I think it's something we have to do, so I'll move that we purchase a cabin chassis at this time.
I'll second it.
Now, do we want to, now that we're in discussion, right?
Right.
Do we want to, what do we want to do with the box? Because if, that's a different company now, than the wing and the plow. The second half of that, the 110,000,
You won't be purchasing
or not the
that
110, the
until-
86,000, I said. That price is only good also for, I believe, 30 days. So do we want to do anything with that?
Can you lock into that now and not
Yeah.
accept delivery until 2020?
Correct. We can lock into that right now, and trying to read this whole thing.
If we did that, we'd be spending money we don't have budgeted.
Correct.
But that's to use for the chips, right?
hmm
You're figuring.
I'm figuring 50,
50, round numbers, 52.
yeah. Chips fund is 54,000 we're taking out, okay?
So it's another
80,
30.
so it's 30 some thousand that we would not technically have right now. And if I was to take all of the CHIPS money, which is 87,000, which means we'd only be paving half the roads because we matched the CHIPS money with we've been matching the CHIPS money with our town money. So that would mean that we'd only pave do the half the paving that we've been doing. That's worst case scenario. If we spent the money, all the CHIPS money, the state money on the truck. So that's your option if you were not to put it in the budget, that 50,000. The truck fund. Is and you went through with the box and stuff tonight. Come to find, at the end of the year, in order to find the money, we wouldn't be paving the amount that we normally have been. We'd take us off the schedule. We're gonna be off a little bit, but it's,
Or we'd have to do BAN or something of that nature.
or find the money in there.
Right.
But you're talking 30-some thousand. But my answer at that point in time would be take it out of the CHIPS. I don't want to see anybody, including myself, paying interest on these things. That's why I started the truck fund.
When are these payments due? Then?
The truck,
The chassis?
when it gets
repair.
delivered,
Okay, and when the dump body plow hitches, I was
when
assuming
it
the
gets
same?
delivered,
Right.
when it's complete.
By law, we can't pay ahead of time.
Right. You can't, you don't, not a dollar goes out until it's in hand.
Oh, okay, it's not even a deposit.
Not even a deposit. It's a signature with a resolution attached to it
Okay.
that says the town board is prepared to pay blah.
Mm-hmm.
And they go on, it's a municipality, I'm sure there's lawyers that somewhere in thought of this. And it's, when the truck gets delivered, they expect a check.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we take it, normally we just have them deliver it rather than here, they go up to the body But if we don't have the money, then you don't go up to the body shop.
So the question is just the 50,000 that we would normally or have historically put into a trust
Truck fund.
fund. just
That's the
like
question.
that. Yeah, it would impact the budget as an increase if it's something that's been put in previous years.
Right. It's been there,
Mhm.
so it's not an increase.
It's
In
not
that
an
budget
increase in that line from this year's budget to
To next year.
19.
Right. There's no increase in the budget for this project. Is what I guess the roundabout. There's no decrease, there's no increase.
So,
And then you got the sale of the other truck that we haven't even talked about, which would be a revenue. The current truck.
And you would try to sell that when the new one comes in?
Yeah,
So that would be
not until we have that.
Right.
Yeah,
And had tried to
Yeah.
get it.
that's when we put it up.
Work the boat
Yeah.
out.
So,
so if we were to do both two resolutions or one resolution?
You could combine them if you wanted to, because he combined, I didn't get a list, so
I'm sorry, I thought I had enough, but
So,
I
no,
I think we
You
should
let
do,
them get
I think we should do two
Two.
because it's two different.
Okay.
Two
different
different
amounts of
companies.
money.
Yeah,
Okay.
two different companies.
Okay, so the one for the, are we considering the resolution for the cab and chassis,
From Tracy Road.
Tracy Road Equipment.
Tracy Roads, was moved by Dan, second by Chris.
Correct.
Are we in favor?
All in favor? Opposed? Motion passed. Now, how do you want to do the,
Yeah, I move on Henderson.
I'll second.
which is Anderson, Bison Plow?
Yeah, I guess it's
That's the 86.
Henderson Products. Put it,
86,000.
86,700.
yeah. That is the,
We have a motion and a second? All in favor? I'm sorry, discussion?
Oh, no,
Okay,
I was gonna
Bob,
second
Bob,
that, but
Bob, I did, I seconded it, yeah.
Bob seconded, yeah.
don't fight over it, guys.
All in favor then?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yes.
Thank you.
Hope you're done spending.
I am actually.
Good.
I
That's,
have an unrelated question. Randy.
Yeah.
Now, how much is the equipment fund?
we don't have one.
Oh,
We have a groomer fund that
yeah, I know we have
has
a groomer fund.
17,000. We don't have an equipment fund. Hence, we had to put a ban for the grader. We started a groomer fund and a truck fund. That was it.
Okay.
But we don't have a equipment fund. So the backhoes, the loaders, they've all been historically banned, which is interest, as we all know.
Okay, just curious.
Okay, anything else, Randy?
Nope, that's it.
Wow.
Sorry. Debbie, how long was it?
Under old business, I don't have it listed, but at the last meeting, we had a resolution for the tax exemption of Cold War veterans, which was tabled. Chris, I believe that we did some investigation and found out that there was only 6 people that had taken advantage of that. Are you okay with this resolution then?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, then we'll move,
You start to vote.
move to vote on this. All in favor? Opposed? Hearing none.
So that resolution, that is going to turn into a local law. So we'll have a public hearing at the next board meeting.
Right. Thank you. Also under old business, we're still waiting for the abstract for 175 South Forest Road and the LED streetlight channel. We're still waiting from National Grid for the purchase price. So that's on hold also. Does anybody else have any other old business?
Should I explain that Mr. McGee came into, I think that's his name, right? Mark,
Artis?
who was doing the abstract, came into town hall to talk to Dan. I happened to be there. Dan wasn't in, looking at bills, and he explained that it's a lot more complicated than he ever thought it would be, and he's still looking into it.
There's no abstract yet.
No,
I don't mean to, trying to hear you at the same time.
no, there is no abstract, and he's still researching.
Okay. Under new business, at the last meeting, there was a comment made that there should be a formula and it should be available to all the people in the town on how to figure the value of right-of-ways. Well, that's not true. And to back this up, on September 24th, there's going to be a presentation here at 7 o'clock from our assessor, Dan Fife, on how to figure right-of-way.
Can I say a couple of comments now about that?
Sure.
Wait.
We'll wait until public comment.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any other new business? Hearing none, we'll move to, I'll entertain for a motion to pay the bills. Chris? Nancy? All in favor? Opposed? Hearing none.
And we are going to try and get Mr. McGee at the next meeting. I never make that call.
Okay.
Right. So we are going to try and get him in
On the 17th.
on the meeting of the 17th.
If you could ask me to copy me on his messages so I know if he's coming or...
Yep. He just was in the office. I haven't been in contact with him through emails. It's just phone.
I had no idea he was coming. So it-
I don't know who did either.
yeah. Now we'll move into public comment. Ready?
Should we stand?
Stand and state your name, please,
Okay.
for the record.
For the record. My name is Randy Southern, Golf Course Road. And let me tell you right now, I'd like to invite this board down to Florida, because I'm on the Florida board down there as vice president and treasurer, and we're dealing with Hurricane Irma still, which is almost going on a year. And that is huge. We're talking $3 million, a bunch of 72 of us. So up here, we're smiling Dixie for what we're talking about here. Since this thing came up back in June, it kind of threw me for a loop. I didn't know it's going to get involved that much. I have an empty lot and I don't use the right-of-way. I haven't used the right-of-way in years since I bought, lakefront property. But my daughter and her husband, my son-in-law, do use my property, and here again, their property has access to this right-of-way. I went and saw the town assessor, spent time with him. I also spent time with our tax people twice trying to figure out some type of formula that doesn't exist. I tried to figure out, because we've asked questions, well, how much am I paying in taxes taken out of the tax that I am paying strictly for the right-of-way? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to zero in on that. And the only thing I came up with so far was the fact that when did it happen and how it came about. Well, it happened in 2008. And 2008, I was assessed on my vacant lot. I want to get this exactly straight. $26,300. It's a vacant lot, nothing there but the bears and the raccoons and the beaver. In 2009, I shot up $30,000 in assessed value. Okay, to $56,300.
Additional 30?
Additional
Well,
$30,000.
that
So I
may-
went from $26,300 to $56,300
And this is on a vacant lot.
on a vacant lot on the tax records, and you can have copies if you want these. But bottom line, that's what I was shot up. So I didn't pay much attention to it. I mean, I want to pay my taxes, I'm a Republican, but the bottom line is, basically, that's what happened there, and my taxes went up. My son-in-laws and daughter which is adjacent to this property. I'm not sure if you saw this or not, but this is, if you want to just pass this around, take a quick peek at it. This is the one lot, which is the big one here with the camp on it. This is the vacant lot.
This is the one that you were...
Yeah, this is mine.
Okay.
Okay, and the big lot there is my daughters and son-in-laws. That went from $107,000 in 2008 to $167,300 for something that I don't use, they don't use, but we have this right away and we're paying money on it. Where this business of, I guess, it's now assessed, the right of way is now assessed at $63,300. It was purchased back in 1997 in December for $10. I spoke to the town assessor. Where did you get the number from? Well, in a roundabout way, he didn't have an answer. And that's, I don't know what he's going to say September 24th. He might find an answer. But he didn't have an answer for that. We've talked since June to now about the right-of-ways. They're all on the Anderson side here. Well, that's not true, according to the tax records. One person owns both sides, owns 50 feet. That person was Sarah Osborne. That went on to Chris, and from Chris to Stephanie Smith, who was, I think her last name is Smith, who's there now. And she has a 50-foot right-of-way.
And your daughter has 25-foot right away, but it butts into me.
And I was just going to say, on that map there, when she came back out, the tax person, and said, well, your daughter and son-in-law also own that 25 feet, and you own this 25 feet, which I stated back in June, but I wasn't 100% positive because at that time I dealt with, back then, years ago, it was intimate, and I said, do I own both of these right-of-ways? And he says, yes. Well, I didn't know, but apparently, according to the tax people, I do. The lot we're talking about, this right-of-way business, whether it be 50 feet or two 25-foot strips, across the road, you have a huge lot in there. It's assessed at $300. And this came out, and that's 178 Golf Course Road, assessed at $300, surrounded by running water on one side, which is the outlet. The back of the lot is running water by outlet, and two sides have basically butts up to the Johnsons and butts up to the road. The other two sides are water boundaries. My lot reads to mid-channel, in the same sense. But this, I think we're under the impression that when we first started talking about these right-of-ways and who owned what, I just wanted to make sure, people do own both right-of-ways in there. And Inman, just for whatever you want to call it here, he's got a $465,300 mortgage left or whatever, but he doesn't have a septic system. So I'm trying to put that into the equation. How can you have that kind of money? And I think it was one of those reverse mortgages that he might have done. The owners that I've talked to personally, are really all in favor of having ownership to this and being the steward of the property. And that's not to say we want to turn around and put up a private sign or a no trespassing sign. We want to put up something that there's no sign at all and have it go back to the way it was. But I don't know who was doing this back then with this 2008 to 2009. I don't know if that was Frank or if it was Neil in 2008. You maybe go to ask him what happened. But this was stuff that I picked up from the courthouse today and last Friday. And I just wanted to get some of the facts on record of who owns what and which side, and go from there.
That's what we're working at.
Any questions?
No answers either.
I mean, I would like to hear what the assessor has to say, because I did sit down with him and one other person for a few minutes, but we both asked the same question, you know, is there a formula? No. Well, how do you arrive at this number, 63,000? And I'm thinking in my own mind, I didn't say it at the time, but is this working off the lakefront property values of like $275,000 for 100 feet, or, you know, like the Lake George is $3,000 a foot, if this circle here is $275 a foot. You know, is that how he arrived at it? If you can't build on it, you can't do anything with it, I don't know how you can even sell it at that price. I really don't. Or try to get rid of it at that price. That is all. Unless you have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
And the dock will be coming out shortly, but it's not my dock.
Please, again, please just state your name when you speak.
It's my next door neighbor. Come on, Wayne.
Wayne Johnson, 172 Golf Course Road, sort of across the street from the right of way. Oath and life was simple and assessments were easy. But I'm from Long Island, land of taxes, and village by village determines a true value assessment or a percentage assessment, but then the rate is always tied into it. You might pay 15,000 taxes, but your house is assessed for 500,000, where the person paying 15,000 in the next village, it might only be assessed for $1,500. The rate varies. Our taxes on 172 Golf Course Road did not double in 2008. So I would presume that the rates have changed, maybe with the assessor we could find out. And assessments can go up. That doesn't mean actual cash expended for taxes goes up. So that has to be muddled through. I don't know if that's your problem or his problem or our problem. The other thing is, there have been right-of-ways sold on Golf Course Road. I attend St. Hubert's and I know they divested themselves of a right-of-way. But the person who purchased it had a sole access in one person's name. Well, if indeed the town decides to go with selling it, and somebody from Speculate or Lake Pleasant, one of the chosen 15 who have it in their deed or other, if they purchase it, will the 15 who have it in their lease have access to it? Now, if you buy a piece of property and you're the sole use tenant, that's well and good. The value, if you have 15 people coming on your property that you paid cash American for, and you have 15 people or families joining you on the property, it has to devalue the assessment. So all that has to be considered, because we're not giving one person or one family sole access if we are including 15 people who have it in their deeds, access for bathing on Golf Course Road Beach. So all those things have to be factored in, I would say, to the assessment, and we have to talk about rates. For 63,000 on a non-buildable 50-foot piece of property, which is just access to a beach, is not a building lot. So all that has to be factored in. So I just put that out there for you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Different subject.
Okay, go ahead, Bob. Please go state your name and.
Okay. My name, for those that don't know me, my name is Bob Fox. I have a residence here in the village for about 28 years and just a couple of lots away from here. I've noticed over the years that we have a lot of street lights that don't seem to really serve any public purpose. And I've seen recently in the newspaper that you're considering changing more efficient luminaires for those lights. And I'm just suggesting that since you're thinking about this, that you give some thought to taking a good look at where all these lights are and asking yourself, is there really any public service that's provided by these lights? Normally we need them for safety, that's one of the major factors. intersections, sharp curves on a road, where you have sidewalks and so forth. But I see them just down straight sections of road, no intersections, no sidewalks. And I'm wondering, why do we have streetlights here and there out in the country? I was born and raised in a very rural area where you didn't have any streetlights at all. My school had 2 rooms, 5 grades in one room, 4 in another, and so forth, but that's neither here nor there. But I've also lived 4 places where built up more. Not a single one of those places had streetlights where I lived. And I'm saying, why when I come up here in the Adirondacks do we have these? Anyway, there's something for you to think about, and to me it's a place where you could save some money and help buy a new truck or whatever with that money. And I don't think the public would be really adversely affected in any way if you eliminated a lot of these lights. One other thought, I've done a lot of lighting work over the years. I'm an engineer and got worked on site plans for towns, for industry and so forth. And there are very sophisticated type of what we call luminaires. The light fixture up there is called a luminaire. And you may want to consider, look into it very thoroughly, just what you're getting. Cutoff type luminaires. And by cutoff, it means that the light is restricted to a certain area where you want it. And you're not sending it all over the place. You're not lighting up the sky, which people object to these days, and so forth. So these are the things you should be thinking about. And other than that, that's all I have to say.
Good, I agree with most of what you said. The only thing is when you drive up from, say, Utica on Route 8, and there are no streetlights, I'm always very happy when I get to Moore House and there are streetlights there. I do feel safer as a woman.
I see.
And then again, you come out of the streetlights and it's very dark. A lot of the year, it's very dark.
I'm just saying, it's particularly, I noticed them on Route 8 here. I say, why do we have them here? And as I go around the lake on the South Shore Road, past the courthouse and on down there, streetlights all along the way, they just don't seem to serve any public purpose at all. So, anyway.
I'll note that the town of Benson has 1 streetlight.
What's that?
The town of Benson,
Yeah,
they have 1 streetlight.
1 streetlight, okay.
Yeah.
There's certainly places where there should be lights, and that major intersections, every little intersection doesn't need one. The light tells you there's an intersection here and helps guide you through it. Down the Route 30 through the village and Speculator with all the commercial things there, that's an appropriate place for streetlights. But we have a lot of places where they don't serve the public. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Bob. That's understood. Anyone else? Any reason to go into executive session? I have no. We'll do round table. Any
Absolutely.
Bob?
No.
Chris?
The only thing I have to say is we have talked about the type of lamp that directs the light.
Yeah.
And that's already been discussed.
Protect the migratory birds.
Yeah.
I have just a question.
Yeah.
Can I do that at round table? Boating season's kind of sort of over. How did we do with our boat wash this year?
Numbers are very high this
Very
year.
high, good.
Yeah, from the report will be coming out very soon. They'll be ending soon, regretfully.
Yeah, how?
Regret-
I see the signs came down.
Yeah, we're losing the people to school and,
Mhm. And then my other question is, going into budget season, are we going to be hopefully getting a grant to cover that next year, or is that on us?
right now, they're running numbers based on usage to determine where they're gonna put people. The monies, I believe, has already been allocated to Paul Smith College to work with the Adirondack Watershed Institute on determining where the most use is and the most need is, and now they'll be determining how many people they'll have at each site.
Okay, but we would still have hours if we had lesser use than in Lake George or someplace else?
I honestly feel when we get into budget season, we should continue what we've been doing just to make sure that we have some coverage. That would be my suggestion, but somebody else might have a different idea. It was a good year. They inspected a lot of boats and they stopped a lot of invasive species. And the report will be coming out. I think we'll be impressed with the numbers, so.
That was the,
Yeah. I just have one thing I want to say. I want to publicly apologize to Sherry Matthews when we changed the date for having the meeting. I didn't notify her. That's why we were kind of cramped in here, and there's another activity going on in the library at the same time. So I spoke to her about it. I apologized. I apologize to everybody else that's here. Then we're a little cramped because they needed the table for in there, and so that was my fault. I take full responsibility.
I think this is better.
I think
I think this lake is better.
did you do it?
Yes.
Okay. That's a lot easier too. Okay, that's great. I'm glad to have them then.
Bob doesn't like it.
Are you going to type up? Are you going to,
two minutes between
You're
mine.
deputy supervisor, you have to be the damn right. Because you have.
If nobody has anything else, I'll entertain for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Chris? Second?
Second.
Mike? All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone.